All right, so let's talk about the mobile app market. So, in this current day and age, the mobile app market is a multi billion-dollar industry and it's still rapidly growing. Each and every single day, someone somewhere gets a brand new mobile device and they're looking for some apps to download. And as an app developer, it's a very good feeling when someone somewhere downloads your app and finds your app useful. But it's an even better feeling when you know that all of those downloads are generating some type of income or revenue for you. So, we're going to talk about different ways to make money with your app. Or, in other words, we're going to talk about monetization strategies. So there's several different ways to make money with your app or several different monetization strategies. But let's talk about some of the best strategies that I've found so far. So the first one is in-app advertising. That's basically when you open an app and you see an ad inside the app, and that's it. So that ad could either be some type of a banner ad, which is at the top or the bottom of the screen, or it could be a full screen ad, which shows up every once in a while you're using the app. Or sometimes it's a native ad, which means it's an ad that flows well with the content of the app. So, for example, when you're scrolling through your Instagram feed every once in a while, instead of a typical post, you might encounter an ad, and you'll see the same thing being done by Facebook, TikTok, and many other applications out there. The in app advertising model is probably the most popular or the most used type of monetization strategy. And that's because it works. So, the good thing about the in app monetization strategy is that it is very simple to implement or create in your app. And usually, you don't even have to worry about the ads. There are algorithms in the background that determine what your users' interests are, and then ads that are relevant to them would be displayed to them. And another good thing with this type of strategy is that you're not directly asking the user to pay for anything. The user can actually use your app completely for free, but the user is indirectly making you money by viewing an ad. So each time a user views an ad or clicks on an ad, the ad company will pay you. And as a developer that is trying to make money, it might seem like in app ads are probably the best thing that was invented since sliced bread. But there are some drawbacks to using in app ads. First of all, if you are showing too many ads, you can actually start to lose a lot of users. So imagine you're on YouTube and you're watching a video, and every 30 seconds, an ad popped up. I'm sure you'll get very frustrated. And the same thing applies for in app ads. Showing ads too often will result in a lot of uninstalls of your app. Another thing to take into consideration is the placement of your ads. If you're placing your ads in the wrong places, that could also result in uninstalls. For example, if I strategically place my banner ad very close to a button that I know that the user is likely to click, like let's say the back button, for instance, there are going to be a lot of accidental clicks. And when that happens, you'll start to lose a lot of users. And even sometimes the ad companies will penalize you for that. And also nowadays, some users have ad blockers installed on their devices. So they don't even see the in-app ads that you're trying to display to them. So you'll have to keep that in mind. But if you decide to use in-app advertising as your primary monetization strategy, my advice to you is to constantly test the amount of times you show ads in your app, and also test the type of ad that you place in your app, whether it's going to be a banner ad or a full screen ad or some type of custom native ad. All right, so the next type of monetization strategy we're going to talk about is the in app purchase. So any type of purchase that you make within the app after you have installed it is considered as a in-app purchase. So to give you an example, inside the Candy Crush game, you're able to buy some power-ups or virtual credits or some type of booster to help you progress through the levels faster. So that's an example of an in-app purchase. And the good thing about in-app purchases is that it is very flexible. You basically decide what you want your in-app purchase to be. So, for example, your in-app purchase could be upgrading to a more premium version of the app or removing annoying ads from your app, or it could be buying some type of in-game credits. Basically, anything that is valuable to your app users that your app users are willing to pay for could be an in-app purchase. The downside with in-app purchase is that if you don't do it right, or let's say you're constantly trying to convince your app users to make a purchase that they don't feel is valuable, it could result in a negative experience. And also keep in mind that with every in-app purchase, the App Store will take their cut, whether it's 15% or 30%. Some of the money that your user pays you will go to the App Store. So if you decide to go down this route of adding in-app purchases to your app, my advice to you is to make sure that whatever you're trying to sell to the user is actually valuable to the user. And by that, I mean the user should fully understand how this in-app purchase is going to benefit them. So let me give you an example to make it clear. Imagine you just downloaded an app, and as soon as you open the app, you see a full screen pop up asking you if you want to upgrade to a premium version, or is asking you if you want to buy these in-app credits even before you understand what those in-app credits can be used for. This is a big mistake that some developers make. The correct way to do this is to make your users fully understand the benefits of the in-app purchase before you even try to sell it to them. Using the example of in-app credits, you can give your users a few free credits that they can use within your app. And then once they understand what they can use the credits for, then maybe you can start trying to sell them a lot more credits. And also, one easy way to implement in-app purchases is to simply create an in-app purchase to remove ads from your app. So if the user doesn't want to see ads in your app anymore, they will just pay a small fee to have an ad-free experience. All right, so now let's talk about the subscription model. So essentially, the subscription model is the model where your users pay you on a reoccurring basis, either a monthly basis, weekly basis, yearly basis. As long as your users are paying you more than once on a regular reoccurring interval, you have a subscription model. Okay, so let me give you an example. So Netflix, which is a movie or TV show streaming service, has a subscription model where the users pay on a monthly basis in order to access all of their shows or movies. And as you've probably already realized, the income potential for a subscription model is very high because your users are paying you not only once, but over and over and over again. And also, another positive with a subscription model is that you build more loyalty with your users, because a user that knows that they're paying you on a regular basis is most likely going to want to use your app more often because they don't want to feel like they're paying for a service that they're not using. And also, the amount of money that you make will be more predictable. With a subscription model, there is more consistency in your income. So even though the subscription model has high revenue potential, The drawbacks of using a subscription model is that it is not easy to get users, especially if your app is a brand new app and you have no brand awareness and you haven't built any type of trust with your users. It won't be easy to have your users pay you for your service, and it's even going to be harder to have that user pay you on a regular reoccurring basis. So my advice to you, if you decide to use a subscription model, is to make sure you first have some type of brand awareness. Make sure that you build some type of trust with your users. And most importantly, make sure that whatever content you're providing to your user is the type of content that updates regularly. Okay. So, for example, a news app could easily use a subscription model because, first of all, the news is updated on a regular basis. So, there's always going to be something new. And secondly, most news apps have some level of brand awareness or popularity. And if you notice, most apps that have a subscription model are not the type of casual apps that don't update frequently. Okay. It's usually apps like Disney Plus, where there's always new movies coming out on their platform that benefit the most with subscription models. Okay, so the final popular monetization strategy that we're going to talk about is the freemium model. Okay, so freemium basically means free and premium put together. Okay, and by this I mean you can download and use the app for free, but if you decide you want some more premium features, you can always upgrade to a premium version. So to give you an example, Spotify, which is a music streaming service, uses a freemium model. When you download the Spotify app, you can listen to any music you want for free. But there are some limitations for the free version. So first of all, every once in a while you're listening to your music, you'll be interrupted by some audio ads. And another limitation of the free version is that you're limited in the amount of times you can skip a song. So this incentivizes the user to upgrade to the premium version. And in the premium version, there's no limitations on what the user can do with the app. And there are no annoying ad interruptions. So the good thing about the freemium model is that you have the potential to get a lot of users because everyone loves free. And it's always easier to get users with a free app than a paid app. And also, the user doesn't feel forced to upgrade to a premium version because they can always enjoy the free version until they decide to upgrade to a premium version. And to be honest, it's hard to think of any real downsides of having a freemium monetization strategy. The only real downside I can think of is if most of your users just decide that they want to stick with the free version and no one wants to upgrade to a premium version because they don't see the value in upgrading to the premium version. In that case, you're going to be stuck with users who are just using your app for free and not bringing in any type of revenue. So if you decide to use a freemium monetization strategy, my advice to you would be to make sure that you're still making some type of income from your free users. And you can do this by simply adding some ads into the free version of your app. So in that case, it's a win-win for both you and your users. Your users can decide to never pay for your app directly, but they will indirectly be paying for your app through the ads that you're serving those users. So the more users that you have using that free or basic version, the more ad revenue you're going to get. And at the same time, when those users convert to a premium version, you make money again from those users when they directly pay you. So you're probably wondering what the best monetization strategy is. And to be honest, there's no one best monetization strategy. It entirely depends on the type of app you have and your target users, and also how quickly you want to grow your user base. So, for example, if I want to quickly grow the amount of users I have in my app, I'm not going to make my app just entirely a subscription based app. It'll probably be a better idea to use one of the other monetization strategies. But on the other side, if I know that my app is a type of app where I'm regularly producing some fresh new content, and my app is popular, well known, and has the trust of the users, I'm in the position to then implement that subscription model. So as you can see, it depends. At the end of the day, it's important to make sure that you test different monetization strategies to determine which one is more suitable for the type of app that you build. And keep in mind that it doesn't necessarily have to be just one monetization strategy, okay? You can have a combination of different monetization strategies. So, for example, if I have in app ads, I can also have in app purchases. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. Just to recap, the different type of monetization strategies we talked about are the in app advertising, the in app purchases, the subscription model, and the freemium model. And each of these monetization strategies have their own pros and cons. So, regardless of which monetization strategies that you decide to use in your app, just try to always test how it's going to affect your users or downloads and also your profits and revenue.